guys, my name is Danielle DiNicola. Welcome back. If you haven't seen the first video that we did, it was 5 must-haves to bring to a photo shoot. I am a cosplayer and model for 8+ years now, so if you haven't checked that out, you should. This is our next installment. If you have seen that one, you might have heard me mention that I just moved across the entire country from Orlando, Florida to California. And I learned a lot in that process. It was my first and only time moving not only states, but literally as far as I could possibly go to a completely other side of the country. So I have another list, 5 things that you definitely should know before you move all the way across the country. The first is, if you're moving all the way across the country, you have to fit a lot of stuff in a very small amount of space. If you're planning on getting rid of furniture, clothes, or any other belongings of yours at all, you are probably thinking about selling them to recoup some of the cost because moving is expensive. My first bullet point on this list is, if you are planning on selling your stuff, anything that you own, I would recommend starting a month, if not months in advance. One thing that we didn't really take into account is that selling things takes a really long time, especially if you're looking for the right person to buy something at the right price. You say you spent like $700, $800 on a dining room table set, and it's nice and you took care of it. If you wait until the last minute, you might end up just having somebody take it for a fraction of what it's worth, and you don't get to recoup any of that cost. So I would recommend starting to sell your belongings really early. That way, if you need to ship things, you can ship things out, have people come pick things up, and things like that, especially your big ticket items. Not waiting until the last minute to start selling things and getting rid of them is a game changer. The second thing to keep in mind when you are moving all the way across the country is that, and this might be obvious to some people, is that you can rent an entire dumpster to put in your driveway, and it will help so much when you're going through all of your stuff and having to throw trash. Instead of having to fill up your trash cans and wait for trash day, or doing a back and forth dumpster run where you have to put all of this garbage in your car and get everything super dirty. Something that I learned, which I didn't know, is, and maybe some of you don't either, is that you can actually rent a dumpster, and it's pretty simple. Usually you can just go online. We rented a 3-yard dumpster with, I think, a 1 to 3 ton maximum. The rental usually lasts around 3 days, and if you need extra time, usually you can just call them or go online and extend it for like $20 a day, each day that you need it. But they will come and they will drop it off. You can fill it up with every thing that you've been hoarding since you were a child. Not to call myself out, but as you're going through all of your closets that you haven't opened, drawers that you haven't opened, and you're realizing that you have way more things that you never realized that you had, you can just run outside and toss them, and that made our lives so much easier. So I would absolutely recommend renting a dumpster, and even if not, just knowing that you can. Also, the best part about it is they deliver and pick it up as part of the rental agreement. So you don't have to worry about getting anybody to get rid of it or scheduling a pickup. They do it all on their own, so it makes it super, super easy. The third, and in my opinion, the most important thing to keep in mind if you are moving across the country is if you are planning on transporting your cars. I know some people like to drive across the country. Some people like to fly and have their cars shipped. What I did was ship my car because the mileage to me and the gas was not worth driving, and I would rather just have it shipped. So you can ship your car, but one thing to keep in mind, which is incredibly important, which I wish I knew so badly, is that if you request quotes online for your car, you will be put into a brokerage system, and you will be getting spam phone calls and spam texts maybe for the rest of your and no matter how many times I text them stop, they don't stop. So I would keep that in mind if you are planning on shipping your car. If you don't want to be harassed, I would recommend either using a different number, an email, or calling these companies directly so that your information is safe and you are saved from the headache that I have been going through for the past 2 months. Number 4 is how to ship all of your stuff. So we were contacting a couple of different kinds of moving companies, my roommate and I, but what I realized, which is sort of a strange, shady business practice that I think everybody should be aware of, is that the companies will purposefully give you an exorbitant quote in the beginning and then later on contact you with one that's about half of that price so that you think that you're getting this really great deal. And I think that it's really important for people to know, especially if you have never done this before, that they do that on purpose so that you either accept the first one and pay way more money than you have to, or you wait and you get a much better deal, or even wait even longer and you can haggle it down even more. I didn't know that haggling was even something that you could do, but you can talk to the broker of whatever company that you are planning on using. I would recommend Pods is what I used. But also something to keep in mind is that you want to make sure that the company that you're using has tracking. I actually put an AirTag inside of the shipping pod so that we knew exactly where it was going to be. Same with my car, so we could track it and it never gets lost, because I've heard horror stories of people losing their stuff for months or having it all broken when it arrives. So I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly where all my stuff was at all times. The last bullet point I have on this list is if you're moving across the country and you're planning on throwing a going away party, I would recommend to not save the going away party for the weekend before you move or the last minute in any way, because moving is exhausting. You are going through everything that you've ever owned, weighing it in your brain whether or not you want to keep it or get rid of it. If you do want to keep it, you can pack it, but if you want to get rid of it, you have to decide how to sell it, to give it away. And it's just so much of an all-consuming, exhausting process, especially on the back end, setting up your internet and electricity and everything. What happened to me is that I underestimated how tired I would be by the end of it, instead of having the going away party in the beginning when I had all the energy to see my friends, say goodbye. Doing it at the end made it feel more like a task and less like a fun going away experience, saying goodbye to everybody and starting like a new chapter in your life. So hot tip from me, the final tip is to have your going away party or event a month before you leave so that you're not down to the wire, you're not stressed, and you can give your friends and family a proper goodbye. My last and final tip, the bonus tip, if you will, is to have plenty of wine waiting for you at your new house, because you will need it as soon as you get there. Cheers. Thank you. See you next time.